I'm cutting that out of this.
2023 Formula One. The field in Formula One 2023 is tightly. The 2023 Formula One field is more tightly packed than a can of Spam. It's time to predict our season predictions, drivers and constructors, starting with the drivers. 20th place. Let's go ahead and get it ripping. Let's get it started. I'm going to start 20th place. Who do I have, you ask? It's Logan Sargent. I don't believe that he will do anything better than 20th this year. That's not to say he's a bad driver. That's just to say that the Williams, it's been at the bottom for a few years now. He's a rookie. I see him struggling a little bit.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. I got Logan Sargent as my bottom. Williams, although having the most time improved from preseason testing last year to this year, no faith. Logan Sargent's not doing anything this season.
19th in the Drivers' Championship, I have Yuki Tsunoda. I do not believe in the AlphaTauri even a little bit this year, and I especially do not believe in Yuki as a driver.
19th, I have Piastri. Oscar Piastri.
Oh my God, bro.
I don't think his McLarens are doing much. I don't have a lot of faith in any of these rookies, if I'm going to be completely honest.
18th, Alexander Albon. Like I said before, the Williams has made improvements. I don't think it's going to be anything impressionable to the midfield. I think Albon is going to sit there in 18th. He's going to pick up some points when he can get it in the odd race, but I don't expect him to be in the points regularly.
Now, 18th over here, I got Yuki Tsunoda. Lead driver for AlphaTauri is not ready to be a lead driver. A lot of spins, a lot of crashes from him last year, and I'm expecting a lot of the same from him this year.
1-7. 17th this year, I have Nick DeVries. I believe that he's going to outscore Yuki this year as a rookie in the sport. I think he has a lot to prove this year.
Got him in the same place, DeVries 17th. I think he will be slightly better than Yuki. I've got points on his first race. Not that really, it matters. AlphaTauri's not looking strong. So I got both their drivers 17th and 18th.
P16, I have Nico Hülkenberg. I think since he's back in the sport, he has had some great return appearances here in the past few years, but as he's going up against Magnussen, who's a little bit more established in that Haas team, he might struggle a little bit early on in the season. I expect him to have a good second half, but I think that he will be outscored by Magnussen. 16th for Hulk.
16th, I got Albon. He's been in the sport for a while. Took that one season off in 21, but the Williams has shown improvement. I think Albon is kind of an underrated driver. I think he's got something to prove for the Williams.
P15, Kevin Magnussen. That's right. I have both Haas cars in 16th and 15th this year. I think they're going to have an improvement on what they did last year. They're still going to be towards the back of the field as far as race pace goes, but I think their car has made steps in the right direction, and I think Magnussen will limit his mistakes.
For my 15th, I got Zhou Guanyu. The Alfa Romeo is looking lots better this year than it did last year. I still think he just needs some more time to get to grips with Formula One.
14th position in the Drivers' Championship 2023 Formula One, Valtteri Bottas. P14, the Alpha has made leaps and bounds compared to last year. Of course, we've only seen testing. We haven't even seen the first race of the season yet, but I do believe that they've made steps in the right direction this year. Valtteri, for me, is nearing the end of his Formula One career. He's in a great place mentally. Do I think he's going to outscore his teammate? No. I think that him as a driver is good over one lap. I think he's a great qualifier, but I think as far as race pace, he does tend to struggle. And if Alpha can't give him the package over the course of a year, he might struggle to adapt to that car as the year moves on. So
P14 for me is going to be Hülkenberg. I think he is, you could say, best of the worst. The Haas has made some big steps. K-Mag has kind of helped them out, I think, with showing that their car actually can do something on track.
P13, Zhou Guanyu. I think it's going to be close between the Alphas, but I think Joey Boy is going to take it home over. I think this first year that he had this past year was really strong, and I think he'll continue to build on that.
13th, I got Kevin Magnussen. Both of the Haas drivers back-to-back. The Haas, I think, is going to be better this year than it was last year. Looks like they worked out some kinks last season, although In the back half of that season, they, as a team, scored 3 points. I think a lot of it could be to blame on Mick. Now that he's gone, Hulkenberg, I think, is going to help them out a lot. Kevin Magnussen, obviously, they're both seasoned drivers.
P12, Oscar Piastri is my pick. I think that he will be the worst of the McLarens. Anyone that thinks that in his rookie season he's going to beat Lando, you might be a little crazy.
No.
McLaren is not looking strong, but looking back to about a year ago, in testing last year, McLaren had an awful testing. They also came out the first race, and they had an awful first race. We've seen this before from McLaren. I think they will get on top of their issues. I think they will be solidly in the midfield up towards the upper half. I think that Piastri is going to have a decent year this year. I think he'll be regularly in the points, those 8s and 9s.
P12,
P12.
another McLaren driver, Lando Norris. I don't have a lot of faith in this car. I don't know. I think with other drivers given on the grid, I think Lando might be comfortably in 12th, but I think he's a solid place in the lower midfield.
P11, Lance Stroll. That car obviously has found some pace over the winter. Unfortunately for him, he is suffering a little bit of an injury going into testing and possibly the first race. We don't know if he's even going to race. This is obviously going to set him on the back foot, but I think he will have the package underneath him to be able to put in some good point-scoring finishes this year. This is a huge step up for Aston Martin compared to last year. I think Stroll will be on and up in his career and in 11th position at the end of the year.
Same thing. I got Stroll in 11th. Their car is looking strong as of testing. Then again, he does have those broken wrists, so he might miss this first race. So we might not know how he's going to be driving until round 2. I think in the right car, Stroll can do something.
P10, we're halfway through the grid. I have Pierre Gasly. I think the Alpine, through testing, had been represented poorly. They finished last in testing. Don't think that's representative of their true race pace. I think that they are actually going to do quite well this year. It is his first year at Alpine. He'll be putting in good point scoring finishes. That's all I have to say for that one.
I also have Gasly P10. First year with Alpine. I don't know if I think they're sandbagging or not, but I think Gasly taking over Alonso's seat, he does have something that he needs to prove. So Gasly has something to prove with them, and Alpine obviously sees something in him.
P9, getting down to the nitty-gritty. Lando Norris in the McLaren. Like I said, I think McLaren is going to be able to solve their issues going into the latter half of the season. I think they'll be able to solve their issues after round 3 or 4. I think they'll be able to solve a lot of things that they've been having trouble with, and I think that Norris has the pace to be someone who can finish consistently in the top 8. I think him and the McLaren is a strong match. Now, I do see in the near future, if McLaren can't fix this, he'll be moving somewhere else, potentially Alpha when Audi comes into the sport. That could be something I would predict. But for now, in the McLaren, Norris is P9.
P9, I got Esteban Ocon. I don't think that either of these Alpine drivers are going to be doing too hot. If they were sandbagging, I will be completely wrong. They'll both have some solid point finishes, but I think they'll be more best of the rest territory at best.
P8 for me is Esteban Ocon. I would say pretty much similar to what Dylan said. It is somewhere in that region of best of the rest for the Alpines. I think they're going to be not so much challenging the top 3, but they will definitely be solidly in that fourth spot. And I think that Ocon is going to be a consistent point finisher. I think he's going to take care of a lot of races. Hopefully the reliability for the Alpine is good. And if that stands, he will have a decent result this year.
P8. This is a hot take. Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah,
I got him high up there. The Romeo is looking good in testing. Bottas knows what he's doing. I see some good point finishes for him. Got him up in P8. Pretty high. It's a bit of a gamble, but I think I got him up there.
7th spot, Fernando Alonso, P7 in the Drivers' Championship. We all saw that Aston Martin in testing. We all know what it's capable of. I think we know that it might be challenging the Mercedes for the first few rounds this year. I think that in the hands of Fernando Alonso, he is just going to be a dog in that thing, and I think it's going to be P7 in the championship.
Not feeling the same. I got Carlos Sainz at P7. Given the other people ahead on this list, and given what we've seen in testing, I don't know, the people we got on this list, how some other cars were looking, I think he'll be comfortably in 7th. I'm saying Carlos Sainz, P7. 2 hot takes in a row.
That is 2 massively hot takes in a row. P6, Lewis Hamilton. I think the Mercedes is gonna figure out a lot of its problems after the beginning of the season. I think Russell is gonna outscore Hamilton. Hamilton P6.
Alonso P6. Aston's looking really strong. Alonso is also really strong. If their car can keep that pace, I see Alonso getting a couple wins this season, and if not, maybe not a couple, 1 or 2 wins, I think, and some solid point finishes.
You heard it here first, folks. Alonso for a couple of wins in 2023.
Hold up. Let him
P5, George Russell. I think it's going to be close between Hamilton and him. I think that the Mercedes is solidly going to be taking up that 5th and 6th spot. Not much to say about Russell besides that he's going to be a really solid driver. He's going to put in a lot of solid results.
Checo. Someone's disappointed. Well, I'm going to run with it. Checo P5. No elaboration.
Okay. P4, Carlos Sainz. I think that he will take up the 2nd driver position in Ferrari, although he's going to give Fred Vasseur a little bit of a headache as he is in his 3rd year in the Ferrari. I think that he has a lot to prove there. He had some unlucky results last year. I think that it's going to be pretty close between Leclerc and him, and that package looks pretty good in the Ferrari.
Got George Russell down in 4th. I think the Mercedes have figured out what they needed to figure out. They're going to be quicker this season. Get more than 1 win, and some more podiums this year.
Top 3, 3rd place, Sergio Checo Perez. I think this is a safe bet, although the Red Bull is looking extremely dominant this year. I think that there are a couple drivers that are just going to do better in the point scoring. Checo P3, it's going to be a lot of podiums, a lot of 2nd places, maybe a few wins tied up in there, but I don't think it'll be enough to take any of the top 2.
I got Lewis P3. I think Lewis has got it. He's chasing that 8th title.
He is.
Although I don't think he will get that this season, or maybe at all. But he's not going to let that flame die for a couple more years.
Agreed.
And he will push that car to the limits. They have to be the same.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory what these top 3 are going to be. But P2, Leclerc, not a whole lot of elaboration past that. He's going to be a little bit better than Checo. I think that he's going to make a lot of solid podium finishes this year. He'll be more consistent if Ferrari can get their reliability together and their strategy. The package is definitely up there with the best, and I think that Leclerc will be able to challenge for at least the first half of the season for the title.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Leclerc is going to be getting a lot of points. We saw it last season before Ferrari's strategy went down the toilet. New team boss, although it'll take a little while for him to really make an imprint on the team. I think they're going to be doing a lot of good stuff for Leclerc because they know he has the potential to get a title.
And P1 in the driver's standings, we can say it together. You can say it with us as well.
Felipe Drugovich.
Max Verstappen for sure P1. That Red Bull is the best car this year. Max Verstappen is probably the most informed driver on the grid. It's looking like it's going to be a repeat of last year, if not even more dominant. The man in the Red Bull is going to take the absolute dub this year. I think he will probably win more than half of the races as well. Verstappen P1.
Yeah, Verstappen P1 for sure.
Time for the constructors. Williams.
AlphaTauri. Williams.
Haas.
McLaren.
Alfa Romeo.
Haas.
McLaren.
Alfa Romeo.
Aston Martin.
Alpine.
Aston
Martin.
Mercedes. Red Ferrari. The red car. Ferrari.
Ditto.
Red Bull.
Red Bull.
If you have any crazy predictions that you want to put in the comments, go ahead and throw them down there.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah. If you heard any background noises in this video, no, you didn't. With that being said, you will probably see us in about 8 months crying about how wrong these predictions were. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.